Hi, you're watching the mainstream, and I'm Simran Shiwalkar, your host for today. We are in Delhi witnessing the inaugural edition of Digital Native Nexus 2025, brought to you by the mainstream, presented by Brio Technologies and Google Cloud. Well, I have with me Mr. Tushar Bhatnagar. He is the co founder and chief technology officer at vidBoard.ai. Firstly, Tushar, thank you so much for joining us, and let's lead with your experience. How has it been so far?
First of all, thank you for having me here. And to be honest, it's always a humbling experience being at such events. I like seeing the energy people bring on stage and especially the staff as well. So, all the team members, the staff members, everybody is involved. There's a different vibe altogether for the whole event and even the talks, the panels. I just some time back joined in. I witnessed the panel firsthand. I like the energy the seniors from the industry bring in. So, it's always a learning experience. And I always just have a lot to take back and grow. And, in the end, it's more like I end up growing more as an individual.
Fantastic. Firstly, thank you so much for being so candid, Tushar. And I want to understand from you, as a founder, as somebody who is invested in startups, who is digitally startups that are digitally born. And today's summit, it heavily focuses on digital natives, where tech, AI, and human-led is at the center of, is the core of every conversation. So, from your point of view and from your journey, how do you define digital natives today?
See, for me, I'd say anything that exists in the digital realm
Correct.
could comprise of the term digital natives.
Right.
But at the same time, when it comes to digital natives and AI going hand in hand, I actually see some virtual entity and, doing something by itself based on either instructions or having some ambient intelligence around it. Like it can just gauge what's happening, be it health wise, be it looking at some kind of visual cues or auditory cues or whatnot.
Correct.
So based on all these artifacts that I created, I'll really want that the digital intelligence that we're talking about does some actions, can look after us or make our lives much better or easier.
Right.
So for me, that is the digital native plus the AI that we're looking at.
Fantastic. And again, along these lines, do you think AI is a supporting anchor for every business that is, defined, or every digital native business today? Or do you think AI is the differentiating factor?
See, what I'll say is I've been into the AI for a very long time. Even as somebody who wasn't into being the AI practitioner, I was somebody who was exposed to AI trends, the research papers, the byproducts that came out in Europe initially in the foundation days of the AI frameworks. And with all that happening, it just gets overwhelming at times,
Right,
like what's
right.
happening, what's not. So I'll just go back and ask you to reiterate the question for me, because AI is a very, an emotional feat for me, because I'll just quote certain examples and then we'll head back to your question.
Right.
And that is, I've had certain health related concerns across my family. And from time to time, I've been in a position and a mental state that I have access to certain technology. I do not know how that's built, else I could have customized it to probably, have some preventive actions taken place at the time when people weren't around, or if there were ways on how we could have prolonged somebody's life, or
Correct.
had a better idea about what could have led to a certain diagnosis.
Right.
So with all these things happening, that was the emotional trigger for me, that I have to go behind the scenes and figure out how exactly such tech is built.
Correct.
And whether it's a hype or a trend or it's something genuine, that's a conversation for a later date. But for me, it's more about how AI is improving lives, on how it reflects upon our present. Like, how is AI making our present better, for worse, for good, or what exactly is happening?
Right.
So in order to understand all of it, just understand how it's built.
Right. Great. And I think, taking cues from what you just said, firstly, thank you so much for giving parallels from your experience and, sharing your inspiration. A lot of businesses, digital natives, I think the ones that we see today, especially the ones after the phase of lockdown, have come up with the idea of that experience that one has to go through, whether it's travel tech, whether it's ed tech, fintech. I think the ease and the accessibility that's built around it. Moving on, any key practices or, recommendations for businesses today or young startups that are looking forward to be there at the center stage, kind of trying to build up and getting in traction?
See, my main, I'll just draw in parallel from your previous question, and that is, I keep telling people that AI directly doesn't sell.
Right.
unless you are somebody who's the pioneer and doing the first initial research on
Right.
it. If you're not in the research labs and you do not run one, you do not own one, so that is when I say that AI is not going to sell.
Correct.
It's for them to figure out how to build up, what to make, how will people use it, commoditize it, commercialize it, where and how.
Right.
But when it comes to businesses, it's more about the impact and value you can bring in using AI.
Correct.
So focus on the core product, focus on the offerings, focus on how the users can benefit from it and the overall value. And that can be either using AI or building AI or whatever it is.
Right.
But the AI is always going to be there to augment what you already have, not natively from starting from the beginning.
Correct.
Because then the complexity of competing to go out there in the market and so on increases exponentially. That is another parallel from my life with the company FYI.
Right.
So
Right.
that's an AI native company. But again, I cannot just randomly commercialize anything that comes out of the company. It's a research driven
Right.
initiative. So it has to go through its journey of different repetitive cycles and so on to come out with some product that can gradually be taken to the public. But then again, it ends up being a product, not
Correct,
just an
correct,
AI.
not just the AI. So there is some level of process and a whole lot of philosophy involved,
Right.
even though it's, as latest as, something we call as
Precisely.
digital native.
Correct.
Great. And lastly, how do you think summits or conferences built around, today's topic being digital native? It's the segment which is just growing when we talk about the whole idea of digital Bharat. But how do these platforms kind of, foster a level of, conversation or have that, they give that sense of engagement in today's day and age? Do you think is relevant?
Relevant, yes, because for the likes of me and other startup folks that come in, they can actually leverage the insights that the industry seniors bring in.
Right.
So the recent panel that I had attended just recently, I was hearing certain perspectives and intuitive thoughts around AI emerging trends, how they leverage different technologies and frameworks on how to, improvise on their processes and all those things. So that's a different and interesting perspective that you get from industry leaders.
Right.
At the same time, it also brings in the reality check.
Correct.
So it's also likely that I'm coming here, I have a specific notion in mind regarding AI or certain processes that I want to automate, digitize, or in some way or the other. Somebody might already be doing it.
Right.
So it's like you end up listening to them. That's more like a veto to your thought process that what you may be thinking correctly, or it may be totally incorrect and you may want to pivot. So such platforms are always useful to vet your thoughts, have a better perspective, maybe engage in really good conversations with peers. And even if that doesn't happen, at least you can deliver your perspectives and share insights where other people can benefit
Right.
from. So such platforms are always useful.
Great. Tushar, once again, thank you so much for joining us in this conversation and being a part of the summit.
And never miss out on it. Miss out on an opportunity from mainstream as well as such summits.
Thank you. Thank you.